Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've done a video, and I wanted to share a pretty amazing experience with you. Travis and I got out the other morning, and it had been a long time since we've flown together, just our schedules hadn't lined up. And we just saw some nice conditions for flying. We had no idea what it was going to be like. So we get out to the LZ, and there's some fog, and we look up and there's these big massive clouds. The hope was to climb up there in time before they dissipated. So we got up in the air as quick as we could. We started flying toward the clouds. It took so long to get high enough to get up to these clouds. We didn't realize how high they were. But once we got up there, it was absolutely amazing. If you haven't flown up in the clouds, and there's a difference between a thin layer of clouds and these big, giant monster clouds that have thousands of feet of elevation from the lowest point to the highest point. If you haven't had a chance to experience that, man, as soon as you see an opportunity, take advantage of it. Now, of course, you have to find those perfect clouds where they were created overnight or they blew in from the prior day. Of course, we don't want to fly around clouds that are created from thermal activity during the day. But, man, I tell you what, it was absolutely amazing. I've had 3, maybe 4 instances of flying in the clouds. And my first time ever was this thin layer of clouds that they were probably 40 feet thick. So I actually felt like I was surfing them. And I'm like cutting and carving, but I didn't really go into a cloud where I couldn't see anything. You know, it was just kind of just being on the surface. But when you're above that layer, it's almost like the clouds are the floor, okay? And you're just flying along, low flying above these clouds, even though you're thousands of feet up. The other type, and we've had 2 instances of this where we've got to fly in this enormous cloud land. It's almost like a world of its own, and that's what this particular flight was. The last time, unfortunately, neither of us had our cameras going, so we missed out on the opportunity, but this one was just as good, if not better. We had the most glorious sunrise coming up over the clouds. You get excited, you're just so, I don't know, it's this childlike way to play on a paramotor. Now, once we got up above the clouds, we had traveled, man, so far. I can't remember how far Travis had said we'd went, but we had a tailwind, so it just kept pushing us, and we had to turn around and find our way back. But it was so worth it because these clouds, they were endless. It seriously felt like they were endless. And when you get to play in them, so it's one thing to go up and fly above them, but when you get to play in them, and I'll tell you what, it's way more fun with another person, because watching another paramotor going toward this giant, massive cloud, and then all of a sudden, bloop, they disappear into the cloud, and then they pop out the other end. It is magical. It is so magical. And then just the carving and cutting and sliding in a cloud and out a cloud. So, if you have an opportunity to fly in the clouds, and sometimes you have to get up pretty high. This particular time we had to get up to just about 9,000 feet in order to get above these clouds. And then we probably played somewhere in that 5,000 to 6,000 foot range. But man, I went for a flight later that evening, no clouds at that time. And it's not to say the flight wasn't enjoyable, but after having that pretty amazing experience, it's hard to just kind of hover the ground again. So it's what I found with paramotoring is we have so many different opportunities to experience flight. So, not to say an airplane doesn't get to fly low sometimes and fly high and fly in the clouds, but what we're doing is you can have a dynamic flight where you're just cutting and carving low to the ground, and you get all the reference points to show you how fast you're moving. And then you can fly 1,000 or 2,000 feet and just kind of across country, hover around, look around, just enjoy the view. And then you have situations where you're flying in the mountains or large objects around you. And then you get up even higher and the world just kind of changes. And then you add the element of clouds, and Wow. So there's so many different layers to flight, and that's one of the things I really love about this sport, and I had no clue that it provided until I started to do it. So not only is you got the different levels of flight based off of how high you fly, but then locations. I mean, there's so many places we can fly. My trip out west was a perfect example of brand new territory and the exploration that comes with it. I tell you what, the more I fly, it doesn't get boring, it gets more exciting. And I think once you start to build the confidence of getting past the concerns about launching and landing, then you can really just start enjoying the experience. For example, the other night when I went for a flight, I flew over to the park, I landed, I just kind of hung out at the park for a little bit, hooked back up, took off, and flew back home. Just a short little jaunt, you know, just using the paramotor, much like I would use my motorcycle. I'll hop on my motorcycle, I head over somewhere, hang out for a bit, and then drive home. You can use the paramotor in that same way. I have yet to head off to the grocery store or go somewhere to purchase something. I do look forward to that. Travis and I have been talking about flying somewhere and then going to eat. So landing and then going to grab something to eat and then heading out. So something like that will be coming in the near future. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, this amazing flight up in the clouds. We chatted pretty much the whole time, so I didn't have a chance to record any dialogue up there, but I really wanted you just to see it. So seeing that sight is far more enjoyable than listening to me talk, I'm sure. So what's coming up in the very near future? My Open PPG SP140 is being delivered today, actually. And I don't think I'll have time today to put it together, but I plan to record the experience and give you my honest review on this electric paramotor. I love my Parajet with the Moster. I really like that setup. When that engine's running strong, I really enjoy it. But I'm an electric guy. I've got an electric car, I've got a solar system on my home, I've got the Suron. I love the quietness that an electric motor provides. And I know this is still going to have some noise to it, but I'm really excited to kind of see just how it compares. And having the two different machines will give me a perfect side-by-side comparison. So if you guys are interested in electric paramotors, stay tuned for that next video. All right, guys, have an amazing day.